Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're creating a mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's suffering depression with me tonight? It fits.
I wasn't ready for that. It's Michael Colby from Jack Billings Presents.
This is Zach from Absolutely the Best Podcast, A Work in Progress.
This is John. You can find me over on the Commander Lionheart channel sometimes.
Welcome, guys. And you guys all join me to talk about a game that I've been meaning to play for years, actually. Like, probably since it came out. I've been told to play this because it was short and interesting.
Did it come out?
2019. So we're talking about GRIS. I think that's how you pronounce it. GRIS. Developed
green.
Is it just GRIS? GRIS?
I've always said
just
GRIS.
I think it's just Gris.
Agree.
You know, I think that is actually right.
Yeah,
I mean,
French,
the Spanish pronunciation. So, like,
that's a Spanish word?
Yeah, it's all Spanish developers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense when the name is developed by Nomada Studio, published by Developer Digital. This came out in 2019. Oh, no, 2018 originally, then 2019 for other stuff. So 2018.
Yes, so Greece is Spanish for gray, right?
It makes a lot of sense.
And apparently, if the Wikipedia is to be believed, that's the name of the main character, which does not make sense to me because she's restoring color to this gray world.
But maybe Kanye and whatever fuck her name was had another baby together, and so they named him Gray this time because Apple was already used. So I always like to start these off with their memories. I had heard about this game actually from friend of the show, Commander Lionheart. Emmanuel had talked about this game, and I was like, okay, I need to play this one day. And I had posted it like a year ago in a chat. I needed short games. You guys recommended, or people recommended. I still put it off. And then I got ahead of the schedule again. And then Colby, I think it was you or Zach that had mentioned the Discord. You're like, you should play this.
Probably both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we have surprisingly similar taste in games, if not movies.
Noticing that, which I find funny. But so, yeah, I've never played this game before, but it's been on my list to get to for a long time. And Zach, what is your history with this game?
I don't remember when I first played it, but you said it was from 2019?
Yeah, originally.
Yeah, I don't think it was,
2018.
20. Yeah, I don't think it was much after that. But I've played it a bunch of times. I really like it. I do like a good puzzle platformer. And it's a gorgeous game with, this art style, like a watercolor painting. I even bought there was a physical edition that was available through Limited Run, I think, a while ago. So I grabbed that.
But here's the real question. Did they ever ship it to you?
They did, yes.
Okay.
This was before they got really bad. Like I had ordered that, and what was the other one we talked about kind of recently? Carrion.
Oh.
I had ordered physical copies of both of those, and still only have one of those though, and it's this one.
I don't mess with Limited Run. I just have heard people complain that it takes forever to get stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it did take a long time, but they were upfront about it, at least at the time. So I've heard it's gotten worse since then, though. Anyways, great game. I've played it a bunch of times. Love it. Glad you're finally playing it.
And Colby, what is your history?
Actually, I did play this right when it came out, and it wasn't because it was like on my radar or anything, but I won it off of a contest. I won the Switch version.
Sweet.
And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, whatever. And then as soon as I started playing it, I was like, this is incredible. I am a sucker for an artsy game as long as it doesn't overstay its welcome, which this one definitely doesn't. So I sort of accidentally discovered this game right when it came out, and I've sort of been a champion of it ever since then. It's one of those games that if you're talking to someone who doesn't play video games but would like to get into video games, it's one of the ones that I recommend that they would play first.
That's actually great.
It has good controls. The platforming isn't demanding. You're not dying or anything, and it really does help you get an understanding of how like sort of video game mechanics work.
Yeah, it's really good at teaching you how to play the game.
And it's also gorgeous, and like I don't want to reduce it down to just being a real simple game because it's beautiful, and it has like a really nice, like what it's about is nice. Not nice, but but like it's about overcoming, sort of your depression, and it helped me, when I'm depressed, I'll play it a little bit and I'm like, all right, just looking at this game makes me feel a little bit better.
Well, that's completely fair. I mean, I knew there wasn't a whole meaning to this game. Like, I knew it was a metaphor, and I knew that, especially when I got a trophy that said depression, I'm like, oh, okay, there is something going on here. But we'll get to some of those thoughts. But, John, what is your history?
This was the first time I've ever played it. I've been pestered for years by Commander Lionheart to play this game because he absolutely loves it. But I finally got around to it. Didn't really know anything about it until, I'd heard about it and he had told me about it, but what you call it, pseudo sequel, I guess, Neva got announced a year or so ago. He was like, okay, now you need to go play GRIS. You have an excuse. Go play GRIS so you can be you. And I have Neva. I'm probably playing it soon. So, but yeah, I'd never touched it before, but these are my kind of jams. I love these kind of games.
I am glad that I was able to get you to play a game that's been on your list forever then, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, as you missed it because you had to step away, and I kept talking. It was because of a manual that I ended up, that this game was actually even on my list to get to someday. But then when enough people bring it up, I finally said, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the PS4 version downloaded now. I'm probably going to run through it and grab the platinum on it, too.
I mean, it's a short game. It took me 3 hours, and it would have been faster if I looked up stuff sooner than when I tried to do most of this game, just figure it out myself. But I'm dumb sometimes when it comes to puzzles.
Yeah,
There was one puzzle I was overthinking.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
That's
usually my problem.
Yeah,
with the bird and the lamp or the bell, and I kept thinking, okay, I got to stand on the bell on a certain side so the bird blows, and then the wait. When it's no, just walk towards the bird, you idiot.
Yeah,
but So yeah, I'm not a fan of puzzle platformers. Not much, usually. They're not my. Played a couple. I played like 3 of them actually in the last week for some strange reason. But and I do find it funny that if I had a nickel for every game that I played that was a platformer. God, my word, just puzzle platformer that had to do about mental illness, I would have 2 nickels. And I played in January. I would have 2 nickels. I played Celeste.
What's the other one?
Celeste.
Oh, Celeste. That's what that one's about, depression?
Fucking good. Not depression, anxiety, transgender. It really just kind of depends on what you're going through, but it's essentially all of those things it talk in a way, because it has a lot to do with the creator too. Go listen to my episode with Phoebe.
Yeah, I thought I did, but I bet you it's on my list. I just didn't get to it yet.
It's newer, but
I have
this
another
is a
suggestion for a puzzle platformer that
Sure.
you could play that's about depression and transgender.
I know the one you're going to say.
Do
Because
you?
I played The Missing of J.J. Wakefield.
Yes.
Yes. The game
I
is
own that
amazing.
now. I think thanks to you, Ashley.
Yeah, that is a gorgeous game. I'm a huge fan of Swery, and that one is at the end legit bawling.
Is it short?
It's short, yes. If you're using a guide, I think it took me like 4 hours
That's still short.
because some of those puzzles are pretty rough to figure out exactly what you have to do. But if
I guess I know we're playing in a couple months.
using a guide, then
Yeah, because I have set. You won't hear. People aren't going to. We're recording this the end of January 2025. You won't hear this till March, most likely, or early March or late February. But I have a goal. I'm going to beat 100 games this year. I have a lot of short ones planned too, but that's my goal.
That's a big goal.
I know. I'm already on track so far. So that's why this is here.
If you're gonna play The Missing, I want to be on that one, and I also want, because I am not transgender, and anybody that I talk to that has never played it, and I would like to get some opinions on that from a transgender person.
I can make that happen. I know a woman that will listen to me.
Yeah, I would on for that one too. That game is so good.
It's really, really good.
So this game, I played this game. I did something I don't normally do. I played this entire game with sound, except for one part, because the sound was glitching, so I muted it because it was irritating me. and the sound was glitching. It wasn't supposed to be. It was making some weird. I just needed to close the game and reopen the game. I didn't want to, so I just finished the area and the sound loop improved. But yeah, I played the entire game other than that one part with sound.
It does have a really good soundtrack and good sound design.
Well, I know it was a game that I needed to have the sound. I needed to listen, and this game has 0 dialogue. It's just mood and colors.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you brought up the 0 dialogue. I love the way that it tells the story with 0 dialogue. Like no dialogue, nothing spoken, nothing to read.
Kind of like I liked it and didn't like it. I was very
It wouldn't work
mixed
for
on
a
this
very
game.
intricate story, but
Yeah.
for this, it worked fine.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
all about
there's not much nuance to this. So even like when the giant like the goddess statue does stuff, like it's broad enough that even her expressions convey what needs to be conveyed.
Yeah.
you say that, but some people didn't know this game was about stages of grief or depression until they got an achievement to depression. So, I mean, just sometimes some people just might not catch it.
I think my biggest problem with that is the fact that the childhood memory, the one that for me made the entire story like come together immediately, is tied behind getting all the collectibles.
The 100% ending there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as soon as I got that, I was like, "Oh shit! Okay, now I know what we're doing." I'd figured it out, but as soon as I figured out, like, I don't know how spoilery we're going.
No, we spoil completely.
Yeah.
So in the true ending, you find out that all the statues are her mother. It's the representation of her mother, and the true ending is, I'm going to say GRIS. You can correct me later. GRIS and her mother in a field watching like a meteor shower, and her mother is controlling the little starlights that you collect through the game, the ones that make the bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, once you see that, you see the mother, you go, oh, the statues look exactly like her mother. And it makes even more sense. I'm assuming the mother probably died, because to get I think it's the anger trophy for, the stages of grief, you go around busting all the heads off of the statue.
Oh, I didn't even realize you could do that.
I didn't either.
When you drop down in the second stage into that like pure white room,
Mm-hmm.
at the very end, you can go around. There's like 3 or 4 statues, and if you bust the heads off you bust the head off all that, you get the anger trophy.
Nice.
So denial, anger, bargaining.
I got the 100, like I got the true ending on the Switch version, and I was playing on a Switch Lite, so I didn't get all of that. Like it was too small for me to really notice that stuff. I sort of blew through it for this playthrough on the PS4. I might have to go back.
Yeah,
I played this on Steam Deck.
To get the denial trophy, you turn around at the very first time you control her. You turn around to go back, and like she falls down and avoids looking at the statue of her mother. She won't look at it.
Huh.
And yeah, it's really interesting how all that stuff came together.
This was a game that I kind of regretted not playing it on the TV, on a bigger screen, because I knew I was missing out, but Steam Deck is just so much easier for me.
Yeah, when I played it on the TV, I was like, I was surprised by how much of a different experience it was than the first time I played it on the Switch Lite. I was like, wow, this is silly how much different this is.
But that's just kind of come with mobile gaming, or not mobile, but portable gaming. So, I mean, I did not realize, like, because the first part of the game, everything is red, which is supposed to represent anger, which is all part of the grieving. I also have a random question. Whenever I mention, like, the stage of grieving, unfortunately, what comes to my mind is a guy with a purple mask every single time. I can't be the only one, right?
You might be the only one. I don't understand.
Majora's Mask.
I have no idea.
Not just
Colby
purple,
should know that one.
Yeah,
if I described it better.
I like Majora's Mask, but I haven't played it in probably 15 years.
Played
like
it
when did
early
that
for this podcast?
Yeah, when did that 3DS version come out?
A while ago.
Yeah, I played it last when the 3DS version came out.
No, that's fair. It's just where my brain goes to every time that I think of it. And that will just forever be, that's just it.
Yeah, it makes sense now that you explained it, but...
Well, also, I happen to have a 3D printed Majora's Mask painted that I walk by every single day on my way to my office, hanging on my wall. So that plays a part in it, too.
Yeah, I had a Majora's Mask amiibo that I liked a lot, but I found out that it was worth more money than it was worth to me to be sitting here on my shelf.
That's fair. There was just something about this game for me that was missing, because there's not a lot to it. At first, it's just jump, and then eventually you get the block ability, where you literally turn yourself into a giant block, so you don't get pushed around. Then eventually you get a double jump way late in this game with like a glide. But
I love a good double jump.
It wasn't bad. There was just something missing for me. Like a lot of this game, like I enjoyed it, but I didn't fall in love with it like I did with Celeste.
Well, I mean, there's really no attack. I mean, you can use the block, to like break some stuff, But I mean, you're not running around shooting anything or whipping anything or hitting anything with a sword. So it's
No.
that's definitely missing.
It's definitely less of a game and more of an experience.
That's a great way to put it.
Yes.
So I can definitely like if you're strapping yourself in to play a video game and you get this, I can see I'm not going to say I can see not liking it because I don't really see anybody not liking this, but I can see how it would be less than stellar if you were like, all right, I'm going to jump around and, stomp on some Goombas or whatever. And then you
I did like it. I
puzzle
don't want
platforms or
that.
anything.
But it wasn't. I liked Celeste more. I think that was also one of my issues. I was comparing this a lot to Celeste while playing this. I mean, completely different game. And I try
was
not to
gonna
do
say
that.
that's like comparing bananas to walnuts. Like
It is.
they're
won't
both
disagree with you.
great. Yeah, they're both great, but in completely different ways.
No, I know it wasn't. It's just that just was kind of going through my head. But overall, like it's a very interesting game. Like the colors and the way it like is trying to make you feel things through colors, and like each time as you progress through the game, she unlocks different colors, which I didn't realize are supposed to make you feel different ways. Like red can be associated with pain. I think I forgot what blue is more associated with depression and sadness, or cool and calm, and yellow can be I forget what. I mean, it just varies on your life, but like it's very cool that it has it there.
Yeah, and it's fun how every time you unlock a new color, then you get all the colors, all the separate colors for the rest of the game, and like sort of their counterparts. So like you get red, and then you get yellow. So then you have red and yellow, but you also have orange because everything's mixing together as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're just looking at, a blue level or a red level. Then you're looking at the rest of the game with blue and red and purple and, I'm a colors guy, so I think that was effective for me. Like that was when I paint, the colors and stuff is always it's not necessarily the form of what I'm painting. It's like, does this color work together with, like I'm like a John Moreau guy rather than a, I don't know, Michelangelo guy.
Why do I want a video now of Michael Colby painting with the colors of the Rainbow song playing in the background?
I don't like to show people how I paint because
you're fine.
I go over stuff so many times. Like my paintings never end up how they start.
As long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. I have no artistic talent when it comes to drawing and painting.
Same.
I tried. When I was younger, I tried a lot. I have no talent with that part, but
I always tell people, a lot of people say I don't have any artistic talent, and it's not true. You just have to want to have it enough to keep practicing. Anybody can do it. You just have to want to do it. And not wanting to do it isn't like a flaw, but that it's one of my AI arguments. People are like, oh, I have these ideas, but I don't have any artistic talent. And it's like
practice.
Yes, you have to practice. Like the work is what makes you an artist. The finished product is not. It's the work. So
I also don't like drawing.
And that is perfectly fine. It's just the people who say, oh, I have this idea, but I can't draw, so I'm going to prompt it into AI. Like, no, stop it. Either learn how to do it or have somebody who can do it, do it. The computer is not an artistic medium. Well, that's not true. The computer can be an artistic medium,
but not for when you
program is not an artistic medium.
No, I get what you mean. Like for example, the logo for this podcast, that was my design. I couldn't make it, so I paid a guy to make it.
Hey,
but the idea was mine.
But and you didn't put it into an AI generator. You couldn't have when you started the show, but
I sent it to sent a Facebook Messenger to a guy that I know who's an artist and said, "Here, can you make this for me? How much am I have to pay you?" That's what I did.
Yeah, that's also
like electric tablet, those like drawing tablets, the electronic ones, like either hook up to your computer. I keep wanting to get one of those.
Those do look cool. When I was a kid, I tried drawing a bunch of the Final Fantasy VII characters, and I had them hanging up up above a chair that I always had and played my games. And I remember seeing those when I went back to my parents' house. I'm like, why are these still here? These are awful. But
like if you would have kept drawing the Final Fantasy characters, I'll bet you would have been good at it by now.
Yeah, but for me, also, I found out pretty early that my artistic talent was writing back then. I loved writing. I actually wrote a novel which doesn't exist anymore, but I was trying.
That's, and part of being an artist is realizing what you're good at and what you, not necessarily what you're good at, but what you enjoy doing.
Yes,
So the people who made this video game, there are artists involved, but also the people who, do the level design and do all that stuff. You have to get your group together, the people who have the different skill sets. In our podcast, Kyle Check does our music and stuff because that's what he's good at and that's what he does. And I do the editing and producing, and that's the stuff that I love to do. And, the writing, and I do the writing and Matt does the writing, and then the others are actors. And it's you get these people and then you have what you need when you're doing a project, and that's that's how it goes with any, unless you're a weirdo loner, Jackson Pollock type, splattering your paint around in your studio by yourself because you're a maniac. You got to get your crew together to do your thing.
I really do think that this game could be a really good example of games as an art form, because this game is art. Absolutely. I mean, it's a story-driven thing that's conveyed to you all through the design. Nothing is told to you. It's all based on what you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, achievements help when they tell you what the hell is going on a little bit, but even without that, I knew it was talking about depression or something to do. I had an idea. I just didn't. I kind of knew it was a stage of grief, but I didn't really put two and two together until a little later.
Yeah. Well, and it might not hit exactly. It might not hit exactly like if it was voice acted or written down or something like that. But doing something this way is really hard. If you want to tell a story without any words, a lot of people are going to get it, and some people just aren't going to get it. And you have to understand that when you set out to do something like this, and then just be all right, 70% of people who play this are going to get it. And those 30% that don't, that's fine, because their brains work differently than how that is. But you can't look at this game and not say, wow, this is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous game. The way that she moves, the way that the enemies, the way everything moves is beautiful. The way everything looks, the watercolory type graphics, it's all just...
It really is fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's so pretty to look at, and it does play well.
You throw in the music. I think 40% of this game is the music for me. Holy crap, the music is incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. I did enjoy it, and I'm not a music guy. I played this with headphones, actually, most of it. I tried to have that I tried to beat this game in one sitting, but timing didn't work for me, but I tried. But
you had a nice intimate. I think the Steam Deck screen, in front of you is probably big enough. And if you were wearing headphones and everything was right there in your little bubble, I think you experienced it just as
one headphone
as well as you can.
I was also watching Grey's Anatomy sort of with my wife.
Oh,
come on. I had to have one headphone because she would talk to me and I had to be able to respond. And then there was a little bit of listening to Grey's Anatomy too, here and there. There were a couple parts where I literally just sat in a car in the darkness and was waiting for her to get done with something and playing this. But there was also a good chunk of time where I was just sitting there with Grey's Anatomy on and just playing this. Only partly paying attention. I'm not watching Grey's Anatomy, but I know a little too much about it at this point. So, but that's just who I am. I don't do any I feel like I must have ADHD or something because I'm always multitasking.
Have you considered that you might have ADHD?
I have, but I use the pretty good effects.
True.
I mean, how many people do you know can edit and watch movies and then also talk on the phone and write notes constantly for whatever reason? I mean, there's a reason, but
at least one.
I'm super good at multitasking. I am very, very efficient at it. I couldn't do neither of my jobs wasn't for the fact that I'm a super good multitasker, and I'm happier multitasking.
I can do exactly two things at once. That's it. Any more than that, and I lose my mind.
I can do 5 to 6.
Yeah,
I can
have to be doing at least 3.
Playing more than one game at a time drives me, like having
don't do
two
that.
games, that drives me up.
That drives me nuts too. I'm not allowed in my brain to have more than 2 games ever going at a time. Usually it's 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 for this podcast. Sometimes it was 3, and I was losing my mind when it was 3.
I mean, that's why I haven't played anything in the last 2 years, because I've been solely playing 14.
That's a different addiction, probably.
And since I have kind of quit playing 14, guess what? I have beaten, from the first till now, I have beaten the same amount of games that I beat last year, which is 6.
I mean, that's why I won't play 14. A friend of mine's always like, you need to play. Multiple friends of mine like, you need to play 14. I'm like, no. You seen how busy I am? Like, we can't add 14.
I jump
to this
in
mix.
like once or twice a week, maybe now for 3-4 hours, maybe.
No, I need short stuff like this.
Granted, plus I've played 3 Call of Duties in the last week and a half. So.
Hey, you enjoyed it. That's all that matters.
It took me about 90 seconds before I realized that you guys were talking about Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, that happens.
Like casually refer to it as 14.
I was like, did they make a sequel to the PlayStation 2 game 13?
I wish they did, because that story didn't finish.
Oh,
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
There's a
I
comic.
would have loved a sequel to 13.
You can finish reading the comic if you want. That's finished.
Oh.
I read something.
They have a comic?
Yeah, it's originally based on a comic where the game came from, and the game is about halfway through the comic, and then the comic continues on and finishes the story. And they were supposed to make a sequel, but apparently money didn't happen. So
yeah, no, that game was not popular.
No, I liked it though. It's actually on this podcast episode because I screwed up episode 114, not 13 like it should have been.
Oh,
I know.
Go back and change it.
I mean, I could, but no.
Well, when it comes around to like 713, then we can do a revisit.
I mean, I also think with this game that with GRIS, they do a good job of changing up what they're making you go through, so nothing overstays its welcome. The platforming keeps changing. They add the water at one point, which you can then swim, and I'm like, but I did end up getting really liking it. Like it nothing stays too long. The only puzzle where I got really confused because I looked away when she first learns how to sing. I looked away for some reason. And I didn't notice that as she sang, the flowers expanded. So I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And I had to Google it.
Yeah. Now that you say that, it actually reminds me of a game where you keep learning new platforming things and then you use them for a section and then they go away. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I'm about to say it, and then I'm going to be mad at Mike because it's Limbo.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played Limbo in like 10 years, so my opinion could be very, very different.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that because it does the same thing. It does you do a platforming section and then you just kind of move on. And some stuff comes back a little bit, but not really. It's like your core mechanics, and then you learn something new. You do it for a section to finish out a level or whatever, and then you don't worry about it anymore.
I do want to go back to it because I was actually meaning to do it for a long time too. So at some point,
Limbo is an incredible game.
It's short.
That's also why I want to do it.
Platformer.
Like Limbo and Journey, and now GRIS, they're all 3 in that same wheelhouse. I think the missing of JJ Macfield has a little bit more to the gameplay, so I won't exactly tie it in with these, but
I want to play it more so. But the swimming, I liked it. I mean, this game gets kind of complicated as the puzzles go on, but I did mostly okay. I was able to kind of just pick up everything. I did very little Googling in this game. I tried not to look up. It wasn't until like the flower stuff I had to look up multiple things. I was just confused where the game wanted me to go. And I was at that point where I'm like, I just want this game to end so I can move on to my next project. And I had to Google some stuff because I was just lost. Like when I would make sure I went and followed every path that I could go. And I still didn't know what to do in that last part because I just wasn't understanding some of the flowers. You had to like whatever the fuck you had to do. So singing. I didn't really like the singing part at the end. That was when the game was a little less enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I think it's because the levels were a little bit too long. Like that, yeah, those last singing parts it's a little bit too much and it's a little bit too spread out. And the rest of the game is sort of so tight that it did feel a little bit like, all right, And it is towards the end. It is right at the end of the game. So like, you know that it's coming up towards the end of the game,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're kind
Yeah,
of just
that
ready
was
to be
where I
done.
was like, I could use a map. I could really use a map for this.
That's a
'Cause
trigger word for me.
I could not figure out how to get back to the main point at one point. I was like, the hell am I in this level? How can I not figure out how to get back there? And it took me like 5 minutes to figure out where it was.
At least
the
it
last
wasn't.
level does get confusing.
Yeah, it does. It's too big. Colby's right.
I don't mind
And
the
then
singing though.
after today, I did it like maybe 10 minutes to get all of the mementos.
I got some, but I never tried to get mementos. I mean, I got whatever the game made me get, so I would always go and try to find those things. But I think I got everything I saw that I needed to progress.
I don't remember how many of them there are. Give me just a second.
A decent amount.
Yeah, it's too many. That's one of the things that always turns me off. Like, no matter how much I'm enjoying a game, if the game wants me to get 100 of something, I'm like, I'm just never gonna have that trophy.
28.
I almost never
can't do
care about trophies anyway.
I'm
You
a
should.
platinum hunter, so this one was easy, and I was like, yeah, this will take me like I would have got it done last night, except I kept having power issues, so I was like, well, I better shut everything off before I cook something. So
But you're having fun with it, so
it took me, I don't know, maybe 2 more hours to run through. But it has a fantastic chapter select. You can grab everything and then just end a chapter, go right to wherever you're missing the next thing, and you're good. So
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, they're broken out into like I think it's 1 chapter, then 2, and then all the way until the last chapter. There are like 3 different points you can pick from, and it saves whatever you grab. So I bounced around chapter select and just grabbed what I needed. Had a guide up for the mementos.
I was proud of myself for playing so much of this game without a guide, because that's not me.
Yeah, I didn't touch a guide until I was like, okay, I need one to find all of these mementos, because some of them were, I don't think I would have ever found where you get the true ending. So at the end of the game, when you're it was when you first connect the bridge before the depression slime attacks again. If you drop down off of that domed roof, there's a little opening, and you go in there, and that's where you get the last true ending.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
I was watching the video, and I'm like, wait a minute, where the heck is he going? Oh, there's a hole there. Okay, I didn't know that was even there.
Yeah, that probably would have been an issue for me.
Yeah, I think I had to use a guide. Actually, I know I had to use a guide the first time I did it, because I was like, it was one of those, like, it was like a Fez type situation where I'm playing it and I'm like, there's something more to this. And there wasn't as much more as I was expecting there to be, but there's definitely more to the game. It's not a Fez level of extra stuff that's involved with it, but yeah, it's definitely got. Inside was the same way. Like, how the hell is anybody ever going to find the end of Inside without using a guide?
Yeah.
Because some of those hatches are so hidden.
I've actually played Inside.
I always wonder how the people who make those guides figure that stuff out. Like, there's stuff in like I said, Inside and Fez and Bloodborne and all of these things where it's like, who thinks to do this stuff?
Yeah, I've watched some people who, like, as they're going through a game for the first time, trying to find everything, they scrape literally I mean, it is ridiculous how meticulous they are when they are going through a level in these games to find the stuff to make the guide. It is insane. I'm like, you guys are way more meticulous than I am. I just beat the game and then find a guide.
Yeah, it's not me, because I've tried to be like, all right, I'm going to explore every nook and cranny of this game, and it never works out because I always get bored. Because I am diagnosed ADHD.
I'm very proud of myself for not only having to have a guide for one of the endings. Only time I had to have a guide was for Elden Ring.
Oh, that's how Souls games are meant to be played.
Good Lord. Yeah, I have the Elden Ring. I have the Elden Ring Platinum, and I had to use several guides for some of that stuff.
I had to use a guide for the Ronnie ending, and somebody I was watching stream told me about the girl with the arm, like you had the fake arm.
Yeah.
How to do the poison thing for her. And that's the only 2 things I figured everything else pretty much out by myself.
Yeah, the chaos ending, I was like, how could anyone figure this out by themselves? It's so crazy.
I might have got help with that one too. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's great. But
yeah, it's awesome. When are we doing Elden Ring on games my mom found?
I don't know. That's like a month commitment, I think, isn't it?
Bloodborne first. It's a better game, but
It's on the show.
Oh, we did Bloodborne.
you did Bloodborne. Darn.
Yeah, we did. So I have a question.
I like Bloodborne more than Elden Ring. But
Yeah, Bloodborne's
really good.
my number one.
So in this game, when you see that, when you do fight because at one point you get chased by a crow, which was fucking awesome, by the way. I enjoyed that whole setup. But then it felt like more like a platformer game, and I was really enjoying myself. But when you get to the top and you see that bell, it looked like a bird cage to me. And unfortunately, even though I'm not a fan of this game, every time I see a bird in a bird cage, I'm like, oh yeah,
BioShock Infinite.
Every time.
Great.
I don't even like that game.
Oh, BioShock Infinite is so good. I haven't played it since it came out. So
yeah, don't do that.
Don't
Just
ruin my
keep that memory.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Keep that memory.
Play that game once in a
I have a 3-hour conversation if you want to hear what Bill thinks about that. Bill Tucker thinks about that game.
I don't, because I know that he hates it.
And I am one of the does not like BioShock 1.
I like BioShock 1 a lot.
I love BioShock 1. That one I have replayed, and the only thing that sucks about BioShock 1 is the hacking minigame.
Yeah.
I don't like BioShock 1, and I absolutely adore BioShock 2.
2's great.
2 is great, and the hacking minigame is much better.
So after you have the bird, you have an eel that's chasing you. I do like the part when the shadow turns into her, like a woman's face, and then like bites you or something. Like that was cool. Vision. What's the word I want
visually?
Here? Yes,
visually.
I think so.
I think that part's really cool because I think that was a representation of the whole eel. I call it the depression slime because it kind of looked like slime. The eel, the bird, they're the same thing. I think they're the same being. That's a representation of her depression, trying to pull down everything she's fixed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
At first, I thought the eel was a sexual reference, and I was happy to find out I was wrong. So that's what my brain went, unfortunately.
At the end, and it turns into her mother. It's the depression of her mother at the end when it gets the face and the hair. That's the same as the statue. So it's literally turning into her depression over, I'm assuming, her mother dying. And so it is trying to break the statues that represent her good memories of her mother with it representing the bad of all the depression. And she basically, it goes around destroys the statue. It rips the statue apart, and then she sings it back to life, rebuilding the good memories of her mother while putting the depression memories beating. That's how I kind of saw it playing out.
Yeah, I definitely took that thing to be the same thing. Yeah,
the same entity.
Yeah.
I did too, especially because I think you see it form a few different times. But it was damn cool. Like the swimming stuff, I ended up really getting into the underwater thing. I was like, this is actually like good water levels in a platformer.
There's very few games that have good underwater sections, but that one was good. I actually did enjoy the water stuff.
Same. I really had a good time. Yeah, I even like the puzzle where you had to go in and out of the water a couple times, and like where like where the gravity would change. Those are even that was fun to me. I'm like, this is not normally my thing, but this works.
Gravity changing, just like Limbo.
Yep. I have no memory of that in Limbo, by the way.
It's very close to the end, and it's a very big mechanic to introduce that far into the game in Limbo.
I will do Limbo this year.
Awesome. Can't wait.
So, no idea when, but I will do Limbo this year. So,
well, I play it probably twice a year, so I'll be ready for it.
Like I said, I'm going to make that 100 games happen, and the only way that's going to happen is have some short games. So, otherwise, it ain't going to happen. I produce too much content.
Yeah, and Limbo is
We've all known that for some time.
Limbo's shorter than this.
Okay. This was about 4 hours for me, which is longer than I expected, but I got stuck a couple times. I got distracted, but I think probably left the game on, but overall, very good time.
Yeah. No, it really is a beautiful, like, I was coming into it and I'm like, what can I possibly say about this game? And it's like, it's beautiful and the puzzles are easy enough, but not like insultingly easy.
Yeah.
And goddamn, is it gorgeous. Like it's really the main thing is how good this game looks.
I mean, you're playing an emotion.
Yes. Right? That's a really good way to put it, because, I mean, it does do a good job of conveying grief to, I just And I knew it was trying to tell me something. I just didn't know what.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think, and it's on PlayStation Plus now, and it goes on sale on everything for like less than $5 on a regular basis. I always see it on sales, and I think anybody who's listening to this, if they haven't played it, should just pick it up the next time they see it for a reasonable price, or even at full price. It's worth it. I think it's like a $20 game.
It's currently right now on January 31st, 2025. It is currently right now $3 on Steam.
Yeah, it goes on $3 a lot. That's what I bought it for randomly, or I got it in a bundle. Who the hell knows? But
yeah, I have it on Steam and PlayStation. I don't remember how I got it on Steam, but
that's how Steam works, sir. You just end up with stuff and you don't know where it came from.
I get so much crap through Humble Bundle that I don't remember.
Hey, I get excited every first Tuesday of the month. I get excited, so that's my.
This month there is not much on there.
Hasn't. Hey, if there's a game I don't own that I can redeem, I'm happy. If it's a game I already own, it means I get to give away on the podcast. I'm happy. So.
Never mind. I did not see Fort Solus was on there. I've been wanting to play that. Okay, cool.
See, it's worth it.
And Blasphemous 2.
Yep. Oh, Blasphemous 2 is awesome.
Yeah, but it looks hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah, that doesn't sell me on it, by the way.
Mike, you have to play it. You're going to hate it.
Yeah, that doesn't sell it either. But I'm assuming it has a map at least. So there's that.
It does have a map. A good map. A really good map to tell you exactly where you are going to die next.
I have started and stopped the first Blasphemous I don't know how many times because it is too hard for me.
That's why it's not on this podcast yet, by the way. Because I thought about it. I almost put it on.
It's not very long.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm almost done.
I think it took me like 6 hours to do the first one.
Really? Okay. Maybe I gotta just
that's not bad.
Get good and do it.
I might be
I think he's
mixing that up
us.
with something, but I know that it was considerably shorter than I thought.
I want to say that's kind of what Lion said that it took him.
Yeah, it's way shorter than what I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be like a Salt and Sanctuary type of time sink, but it wasn't. You,
sir, are a liar.
Okay.
How long to beat? It says main story is 14 hours.
Oh, okay.
He's a huge liar.
Blasphemous 2, Mea Culpa, which I guess is like the DLC. That's 6 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. I play a lot of games. Yeah. And if something feels shorter than it was, like I don't think I would have even had my time.
It might have just been really fun.
Yeah, I was just enjoying it more than I thought. Because sometimes I'll sit there and I'll play a game and I'll be like, oh yeah, I probably played it for an hour, and then I look up at the time and it's like I've been playing for 4 hours, and it's like, holy shit.
I'm always shocked at how much longer I've been playing a game than what I thought. Because I don't even have that much time to game. I'll be like, oh, I play like 15 minutes a day or something like that. I'm like, well, how did I spend 20 hours on this?
Yeah.
Welcome to like to play an MMO.
Yeah, don't do.
Yeah,
you said down at 10 o'clock, and the next time you look up, it is 5:30 in the morning. Hi,
no, I've been there. I unfortunately been in the case where I sat there and waited for a notorious monster to spawn and sat there for hours. So yes.
XCOM I think it was Enemy Unknown that I played. I started at like 10, and I looked over my window at one point. I'm like, the heck is that at the window? Oh, the sun's coming up. Okay. Literally, I played that sucker all night. The sun was coming up at 6:30 in the morning.
I can't do that. I cannot play a game. I cannot sit down and play games for more than maybe 2 hours or so before I'm like, I got to get up and do stuff. Like
I don't know how I did this, but I did South Park: The Stick of Truth in one sitting, start to finish. I started at I think it was 6 in the evening, and it was about 5:30. I finished it.
That's too much gaming.
I can't do that anymore. I conk out about 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm like, okay, time for bed.
I'm ready at 10:30.
If I don't have to get up and
that's why the most amount of time that I have in games right now is in idle games, because I'll have them running in the background while I'm editing the podcast.
I get that 100%.
It's like, how do you have 200 hours in Cookie Clicker or whatever? It's like, because it's just
not there
going.
I have
same with Vampire Survivors is the same thing. Yes. Have it run and collect gold while I'm doing something else.
That sounds like a good. I have 272 hours of Frostpunk 1. I probably got a lot.
All right. Anything else that we want to say about GRIS?
I think I said everything.
Yeah.
I will say, as I was playing it, I was like, there's something about this that's reminding me of something. What the heck is it? And I found that when at about the end, I was like, this reminds me of the movie Belle, the anime movie that came out a couple of years ago. It very much reminds me of Belle. I highly recommend that movie. Actually, I think I'm probably going to watch it tonight. I haven't seen it since theater, but it's about a girl who she goes into like a digital world, and in there she can sing, but in the real world she's very like suffers from anxiety, PTSD, kind of from loss of a loved one. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, yeah, this reminds me of Belle. That is weird how much it reminds me of Belle.
Okay.
I highly recommend that movie. It's fantastic.
All right. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say, unfortunately. And I just want to say, Zach, you were right when you made a comment in the chat about this game. Like,
Oh, I think, yeah, this might have been the first one I put in my list, actually, for short games.
yeah, I think it was. But you were just the third or fourth person in my life that had been like, you should play this game. And I'm like, all right.
So you don't regret it.
No, I don't regret it at all. So yeah, we'll go to Shelf Stacker Box. I'll go first. I'm going to put this in the stack. I didn't love this game, but I had a good time with it. I did enjoy myself. It is a very good game. I think I just wanted maybe a little more action-y. I don't know, but I had a good time. I did enjoy it. I even recommended it to a friend. I recommended it to Phoebe to take a look at this. I'm like, this is a Phoebe game.
Oh, for sure.
She's like, what? And I'm like, it's a Phoebe game. It's like, how do you know? And I'm like, we talk enough.
Yeah.
Like, go play this. So yeah, I'm putting on the stack, but I'm really glad that thanks to you guys, I finally got this off my backlog. So thank you for convincing me to play a game that I've been sitting on for years. So, all right, and Zach.
I do love this game, and I've played it many times, and I will play it many more. It is on my shelf, and so therefore it goes on the shelf.
All right, and John.
The shelf. I really like this game a lot. I'm actually right now. Apparently, there's a physical version coming out for PS5 on April 18th. So yeah, I might have to end up buying that. But yeah, it's definitely a shelf.
All right, and if it's not made by Limited Run Games, it might actually get shipped to you. So.
It's on Amazon. It doesn't say anything about Limited Run.
It probably not though. Well, and Colby.
I really do love this game, but I've played it through 3 times now, and I think it's gonna have to stay on the stack. I consider shelf game that's installed and stack game that is in my library but isn't installed. And that's what I think I think that's where this one's going, is just going to be on the stack, because I don't see myself playing through this again. Maybe I'll clean up some trophies, but that's about it. But it is a beautiful game, and I think everybody should play it.
I do too. This is a game that I'm going to try to get my wife to try, because I feel like it's up her alley.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, definitely something that if you're showing video games to somebody, even a little kid, like if you want to get their sort of dexterity up, if they're interested, they're not going to get the story, but that's fine, because it is a pretty game to look at, and I think it's very good to, get your brain working.
And it's fun.
A great idea, actually. Yeah, I should have my kids play this.
No, it's definitely good for that, because you won't. The meaning isn't like, don't like the term shove down your throat, but like it's there, but you can just enjoy the game because the gameplay is great, the graphics are beautiful, and it's just a very artsy and fun experience.
Yeah. There's another one that I'm going to suggest, as far as we've suggested it before. I know that more than one person has said that you should play this, but Child of Light.
Yes.
It reminds me of the Child of Light style of art, and that's also a simple platformer with a little bit more in-depth combat. It's turn-based combat, but like the platforming and the light puzzles reminded me a lot of Child of Light, which is such a beautiful game.
I also need to play it. It's been on my list forever.
Nobody should listen to what I'm about to say, but I picked up Child of Light, and it was like, I really liked the art style, and then I got to the first like battle and was like, nope, not for me. Put it down. Never played it again. I can't do turn-based stuff. It's not even like really like you're not scrolling through menus, right? It's more like almost like a timing thing. But yeah.
Yep.
I noped out on that pretty quick.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it, was it's turn-based, but it's not Final Fantasy level of turn-based. It's more of a Persona level of turn-based. Yeah. And that little timing, like the reload or whatever, like to get your attack off, gives it a little bit more interactivity than is the reason that I don't normally like turn-based combat.
I love turn-based. I don't know why I've never played Child of Light, to be honest. I own it in multiple ways. I just never gotten to it yet.
Well, it's like this with combat.
Okay. I think I missed combat, unfortunately, even though this was a great game and I enjoyed it, but I think I did miss it. I missed having a little combat.
I think you'll like Child of Light then.
Okay. Well, hey, this is going to be the year that I'm already, I said it last year, but this is 2025 is the year for me of doing lots of suggestions from people. So
I think you did a lot of suggestions last year. I know you did a couple of my suggestions last year.
I did some, but I'm like trying to go through the long list of Discord suggestions over and really just knock out a lot of stuff. So, but yes,
I'm not gonna take an estimate at it takes to beat Child of Light because I'm very bad at it. But
it's 11 hours on how long to beat.
okay, so
for me
than
that means 9.
Blasphemous.
That's about what I remember. My only problem with that game is it doesn't have a platinum.
That doesn't affect me. But yes, I get it completely. I was an achievement hunter at one time. I had a lot of achievements. But yeah. All right. I guess we should just go to plugs. Zach, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Absolutely the Best Podcast, The Work in Progress. You can Google that or probably follow a link in the show notes. And we're ranking the MCU movies, going through them, discussing them, and deciding which one's best. We also added tiers recently. We're kind of doing the A through F and S tiers, which kind of helps when we have so many that are in the middle.
And you have and you just did Black Widow last time, I think, right?
Yeah, Black Widow is the last one that's available. The one after that's Shang-Chi, and that's edited. That comes out. That'll be out by the time this podcast drops, probably. It comes out in like 2 days.
Yeah, it will be.
We're getting ready to record the No Way Home episode. And
there's a movie in between those, by the way.
Oh, Eternals. Sorry, we did Eternals. Eternals I'm editing right now.
Oh, I was like, you tried to forget it, huh? It's a forgettable movie, so I get it.
I like it. I like it. It's good. I was happy to revisit it, actually.
I don't hate it, but it kind of broke me. It took me forever to get on the MCU when we got to that movie, and then we did that movie, and then I have not came back to the MCU.
So for me, we are in the worst of it right now. We got the No Way Home, and then the Multiverse of Madness, and then something else bad after that.
Ant-Man. Or no, Thor Love and Thunder.
Quantumania, the Black Panther 2, like they're all just not very good. This is going to be rough.
I like No Way Home a lot. I like Multiverse of Madness, and then it just straight downhill.
Yeah.
Thor Love and Thunder is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. So.
I do like Love and Thunder. We'll see if it holds up, but I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Well,
that one's
issues.
divisive for sure.
My issue is I really, really like Natalie Portman, and I really like Jane Foster as Thor and what they do to that character. And Christian Bale's a great actor, and what they let him work with, it's just, I have issues. But that's neither here nor there. And John, where do people find you at?
You can find me sometimes over on the Commander Lionheart stream whenever he's streaming. He was going to stream tonight, but something came up, so that didn't happen.
Was it this podcast that came up?
No, I don't know. He was like, hey, I'm going to be late. And then like 45 minutes of like, screw it, we're done. We'll do this next week.
I don't know if that's like putting things, but definitely. I'm insane. And Colby.
Well, you can find me at Jack Billings Presents, which is a scripted absurdist comedy podcast. And if you are a fan of Games My Mom Found, you might hear some familiar voices in Mike Albertin doing a foot pervert named Reggie Raleigh, who, unbeknownst to him, this is an announcement to him as well, is going to be returning soon.
Nice.
And you will also have heard by now, by the time that this comes out, you will have heard Phoebe Stanton, the Let's Play princess, as a insane character that started off as a one-off joke character that we've built lore around into an insane. The only as we're recording the episode where Phoebe did the voice for this character, we're like, all right, well, it has this. And then it has this. And then the only thing we know about it at this point is that it's human shaped. It has a penis, and we're calling it because it does not. It's an entity rather than a person.
Okay.
And you can also find me on This Bizarre Adventure, where me and my lovely and talented co-host B. Highland talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. As of the recording, the last episode that came out is about the Oingo Boingo Brothers episode, which is my favorite piece of media that I've ever seen. So I don't have Joe or Phoebe on to like back me up on that, but
Yes, I'm okay
just
with
trust me, it's the best. It's the best episode of television I've ever seen.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 750 other episodes of this podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, comics, TV shows, video games, all sorts of content. Go check out our giant catalog. You never know what the hell you're going to find. You can actually search on Podbean, type in something, we might have done it, because you just don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there. If you want to support the show, we do have Patreon. Little dog vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Great way to support the show. Great way to affect the show. If you want to chat with us, you want to be on the show, if you want to suggest things that I will get to, join the Discord. Free. We're always happy to have new people, or just lurk. I don't care. I'm happy with that too. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Elena at Hell Has Freak. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out. And please go check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. He's talking Final Fantasy, I'm sure. Definitely go check out his podcast. I think that's, again, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, wherever you get your podcast. Rate and review us. Helps out the algorithm. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.